Thank you, Matt. Saturday night we had a great reunion game against ULM. Great attended game from our fan base, from our student section again. A lot of excitement there from our band, everyone involved. It was a great day. We had a lot of other activities going on campus with different sports, and it looked like we had some carryover, and it was a good day for the Raging Cajuns. Our team played well early defensively. Jarekus Davis hit a couple of threes to give us a two-possession cushion there in the first half, and we were able to maintain that throughout the first half, going up 8 into the locker room. The second half, defense wasn't quite as good early. They scored on their first several possessions, but fortunately we did too. Marcus Stroman was very aggressive getting to the basket. Cedric had a couple of buckets in that stretch. And then we had a dry spell in the middle of the second half or later in the second half with a couple of empty possessions. We had a couple of bad turnovers. We missed a couple of shots that we should have made, and let those guys get back within a two-possession game. P.J. Hardy answered with a big three-pointer, and we were able to extend the lead out and then hang on down the stretch by making enough free throws to win the basketball game. And I thought we had some good defensive possessions late in the game too. So really encouraged by our energy and effort defensively. I thought we battled on that end of the floor for the second game in a row. Justin Miller got double-figure rebounds for us, and those were all big. Marcus played well. We talked the other night about Deshaun Smith, what a good player he is. He's player of the week in the conference for the second time this year, and he was coming off a 38 and 36-point performance against the two Georgia schools, and he gets 25 points on 22 shots. Marcus got 22 points on 11 shots. So very efficient game for Marcus. He was the best guard on the floor, and he also did a good job defensively with Michael Ertl. So when he's our best player on the floor and Jakinan's playing at a high level, then we've got two really good seniors and have a chance to win every basketball game. We'll prepare this afternoon for Arlington and play those guys on Thursday. We'll practice here tomorrow and travel there Wednesday, practice at Arlington, get ready for those guys. Chris Ogden, the new coach, played at the University of Texas when I was coaching at Sam Houston State. He then later worked for Rick Barnes at Texas. He went with Rick to Tennessee, and he left after a couple years at Tennessee and went to Texas Tech with Chris Beard before becoming the head coach at UTA. Chris is a good coach. He's learned from good coaches, and he's got his team playing well after a tough schedule early. They struggled. A lot of new guys on their roster, and they started playing well around Christmas and got off to a great start. And actually were in first place in the league last week and dropped 2 on the trip to Arkansas. So they'll be a difficult matchup for us. They, again, have some junior college guys that make them older and a lot of new faces on the team. But they're going to be very tough to score on. They're good defensively. They'll play a little bit slower than the Mavs have played in the past. But they have a couple of outstanding players that we're going to have to contend with. From there, we'll travel down to San Marcos and play Texas State, a team that also got the opposite from them. They got off to a great start in non-conference and started playing well together, playing with confidence, and they've gotten into conference play and continue to win. And they don't beat themselves. They're very good defensively. They play a little faster than they have in the past. And shooting the ball a little bit quicker, but a very sound basketball team that their coach and I have had many battles over the last decade or so, and look forward to going there and playing. We've been very successful with Texas State throughout our time here at Louisiana, and look forward to going there and competing in their new renovated Strahan Coliseum.
Justin, on the boards, how much of that is just effort, or is he doing anything differently? And then also just how good has his attitude been about just kind of doing what's ever needed? You know, he's come off the bench, obviously, he started, he's been used in kind of different roles a little bit.
Well, he struggled a little bit in conference play early, and to be honest, his worst game of the year was at Monroe. He didn't play well in that game, and that's one that we reminded him of last week. And he had already played well, got back in the starting lineup against Georgia State, and did a great job in that game for us, got us off to a good start, and is rebounding the ball at a high level. And he continued that the other night. And Monroe game is important for a lot of reasons, but he wants to prove that he will do what's needed to win. And right now he knows that's rebounding and defense and scoring inside.
So it's preparation almost in the past. You've had very different. Sounds like it's about one's coming from different directions, but it's gonna be a lot more similar than you've ever had.
Yeah, it's a great point, Kevin. In the past, we've gone to Arlington and won a game in the '90s against the Moving Mavs when Scott Cross was their coach, and former players of mine from Sam Houston were at the arena at College Park Center, and after the game, they said, it's going to be a little different on Saturday when you go down and play Coach Casper. So, with a smile on their face, so totally different. Texas State used to like the score to be in the 50s, and Arlington in the 90s, and now they're both playing much, or they're reversed a little bit, but Arlington's playing a little bit slower, and Texas State's playing a little bit faster. So the preparation will be similar for once.
How does just that Georgia trip, that's the other trip you guys talk about, kind of compare and contrast to this, and just keeping you guys ready for trips like this that are difficult?
Well, the Georgia trip was a tough road trip, just like they all are. Every time you go to another state to play 2 games, it's tough coming in here and playing us in Monroe. The Georgia State came in here and dropped 2, and Georgia Southern was fortunate to get a split. We split on the Georgia trip, and we need to go win a game or 2 on this trip. We certainly have it in front of us. If we want to get on a streak, now's the time. And we're playing some teams that we can catch in Arlington and in Texas State mathematically. So we have to continue to push and then try to get some separation. And then we'll come home and play Coastal the next week, another team that's in the mix with us. So every game's important for the standings.
Do you go into a game thinking this is a game that Marcus can really be assertive offensively?
Yes, and would like for him to be more assertive. If you go back to we've had several games. The Troy game, he was the best guard on the court. McNeese game, he was the best guard on the court. He was the other night, in my opinion. And he's different than a lot of the other guards because he's going to penetrate and get to the free throw line, rebound the ball, do different things. He had 9 assists, 3 turnovers the other night, a couple of steals, so he certainly helped in other ways. But we want him to be aggressive every night. And I've talked with him and Jaquin, and they know that their window's running out in collegiate basketball, and they want to make each game count.
How much did just simple mood and attitude change after the Georgia State game, and how much aided it to help you during a 1-game week as opposed to going into that Monroe game on a 4-game losing streak, and then B, how much can help you when you go out on the road now?
Well, it's important to play with confidence, and certainly after playing well against Georgia State, we had some time off and we were able to rest and get some rehabilitation, get back in the weight room, get back in study hall, and really focus on that for a couple days, and then got back in our normal routine on Wednesday. So we had 3 days to practice for Monroe. Played well again, so we're going to carry that over. A lot of excitement in the locker room after the game, and I think it's going to be important this week going forward that we continue to play with energy and confidence. But it's definitely a lighter mood in practice, and then you go back the other way. Texas State was in first place. They lost 2 on the road. They're going home. So what's their attitude going to be like this week? It'll be a little different.
Every game obviously is important and intense, but obviously things start to ratchet up a little bit as you get closer to the conference tournament. Would you say at this point you're kind of in that playoff mode, or is that still a week off?
No, I believe every game's in that mode, Seth, in a sense. But the deeper you get, yes, each game's very important. If you look at our conference, I believe we have maybe 6 or 7 teams that were within 2 games of each other. And same thing in some other conferences of our stature. So everything's balanced throughout conference play, and one game can mean a big difference. So you have to put a lot of weight on the next game, and they're all important.
You mentioned a couple weeks ago that you thought you guys kind of struggled defensively, then you had this good defensive performance this past weekend. So have you figured out and told the players, what you guys need to do when you are playing defense well, and the difference between those 2 teams?
Well, we're going to keep talking about it. We did a good job in practice Thursday and Friday. I thought we were excellent defensively, and we carried it out in the first half. And were able to get a lead because of it and beat a team that's very good offensively, one of the top scoring teams in our league. Those two guards are quality players. They're balanced too. Munnings, J.D. Williams, they have four guys, I believe, that average between 13 and 22 points per game, whatever Deshaun Smith averages. So defensively, I felt like we did a good job the night. Our ball screen coverage was excellent. We only missed a couple of opportunities, and we gave up a couple of baskets on offensive rebounds that hurt us that we had worked on all week. But overall, it was a strong defensive effort. We're going to continue to work on it and try to get better because that's going to be the secret to our future.
How much of, whether Davis is hitting or not, or Hardy's hitting or not, or same thing with Cedric, how much of that is just who has the hot hand, and how much of it is they have a matchup to exploit?
Well, we need to have a hot hand by someone, obviously, a couple of guys. And PJ hit a couple big ones the other night. He's done well against Monroe in the past. As we know, he was 6 for 10 from three in the game up there this year. He's had some quality games here in the past that you guys have seen. He hit the two big ones. You know, Jacquinnon missed two that I felt like could have really separated the game open in the second half. Cedric didn't make one the other night. So we need everyone we can get. And if we can get a couple of guys to step up and make them, we're going to continue to go with a hot hand and try to get as many as we can. The other night was one of the few nights that we made less three-point shots than our opponent and won. But we outshot those guys from the free throw line, which was a key to the basketball game. As you know, they're shooting 83% as a team. And we're going to try to continue to take advantage of mismatches when they occur. Our wings right now are shorter, as we know. I mean, you look at the other wings, and you've got Thomas from Georgia State, Donovan Mitchell. They're like 6'5", 6'4", and J.D. Williams is 6'3" or 6'4" the other night, and Cedric and P.J. are 6'1", 6'2". So when we lost Malik, that certainly changed a lot for us defensively, but we're starting to play a little bit better now.
You've talked about how important the fan base is for you guys, and you guys always have a good turnout. With the women having their pink game this weekend and what cancer means to this university, do you have a message for Cajun Nation maybe to help them come out and support the women this weekend?
Yeah, the women's team. You know, I wasn't familiar with the pink out game necessarily, but we wore blue pins for autism this week with the NABC throughout the country, with coaches powering forward for autism. But certainly cancer is something that's affected us all, and I know Coach Broadhead does a good job with his team in promoting and getting that awareness out. And they're back home this week. I guess we'll be on the road. I think they only have one game this week. I'm not sure. But, yeah, come out and support them and continue to get the awareness out about cancer.
You mentioned it a little bit earlier, but what's the difference between the UTA team at the beginning of the season and the one now?
Their winning is the main difference. They got off to a slow start, and they played a difficult schedule. With that being said, a new coach, new players, it took a while. I think it might have been a little bit different than Coach thought it might be, the players thought it might be. But then once they settled in and had some success early in conference, I think it started off, they went to the Carolinas and won a couple of games on the road. They split at home and then won a couple on the road and got some confidence, and they played really well. But now they had a losing week last week, and as we talked about earlier, we'll have to wait and see how they respond.